Hello guys, this is Max. Welcome to my channel. Today we have an interesting case of right anterior pelvic tilt. So as you know, when you have a right anterior pelvic tilt, your right iliac crest will be higher. So you can see how higher is that part of the hip, and how backwards is the other one. So we will try to correct that, and you can even see the right shoulder is a little higher, and and there is a little bit of a wing scapula on the right. That means that probably all the right rotator cuff is eccentrically loaded, and the right pec minor is really tense. And probably we need to work the rhomboid and to work the serratum to solve this kind of problem, because we can fix the hip, but for how long it's going to stay in that way. And now you can even see that it's not even a problem of coming from the lower, so there is no discrepancy in the leg, but now you have a vision of the high hips super higher, and how you can see how is in going into the front. And of course, because it's stuck in the front, you have not much range of freedom compared to the left side. See? No freedom. And here you have all the range of motion you need. This is a evaluation that you can see, and you can see the difference. Okay, we understand, Max. And now we do the technique. The technique is it's pretty easy. You have to move your client in this position. When the client breathes out, you're gonna push back the hips that is rounded in the front. So when she breathes in, that's what you do. You give a force directly into the ASIS. And now you can see the result. The result is pretty stunning. I was like, wow, I really correct this in an easy way. But as we know, this kind of correction don't stay if you don't practice some activity that kind of maintain the muscle in the right position. And here what I'm doing is moving the left hips, the left ASIS in the front, but in the same way, I'm correcting L4, L5. Here we go. And here you have the difference on the hip. The difference how the hip is moving is pretty free compared to before. And the distance is the same. Now what we're gonna do is work, we work on the foot, because she was complaining about some pain in the shin. So we are working on the tibialis a little bit and on the base of the foot. Tibialis is a muscle that is overlooked very often, but it's a muscle that is super important even for the knee pain. So like the knee over toes guy, affirm, is very important to work with little muscle we have in the front. And other muscles that are important, of course, is the calf and all the flexor of the toes. So here I'm working on the retinaculum in the front and on the toes and the flexor of the toes on the bottom. Try to open up the kind of socks that we have, that reticulatum socks that we have in front of our foot. Yeah, some opening of the foot, some opening on the flexor. I like to use the fist. It allows you to go deeper into the tissue. Some foot are so hard that you really need to go strong on it. You really have to apply a lot of pressure. Some other foot are the opposite. Some other foot are so sensitive that only with your thumb you can create a lot of damage. So you got always to have a feedback from your client. I can tell you she was enjoying this massage. As you can see, she's not jumping around in pain. So the massage was working fine. And then some opening of the flexor. That's one of the best selling technique for feet massage, the opening of the foot. Some more work on the peroneals on the side. Peroneals and tibialis are muscle that under the foot they meet and they create this kind of a union under the foot. So it's important to work them in a really interesting way. And of course, every time I start recording, there is somebody screaming, there is a dog, there is some worker. It must be some kind of karma. But yes, guy, this is getting too long. How long is it? Why I didn't cut it? So sorry, guys. I just realized that this was too long of a foot massage. I guess I wasn't enjoying it too much. And now we have here working on the medial part of the calf. Here you can reach the soleo, you can reach the gastrocnemius. Remember, when you work on the medial part of the legs, to not to press too strong, especially on the first quarter, close to the ankle. It's really tight most of the time. And here some more work on the tibialis. I like moving the foot to create to break more adhesion when in the active release technique. And even to create some movement, to change the tempo of the massage. It's more reviving, refresh, reinvigorate the person. It's become more a sport massage than a myofascial release massage. Here's some more work on the base. And then another way that you can open the foot is from the back. And I discovered this way to work on the calf. I found it really interesting because it allowed me to go really deep into it. It can be really painful if you have a tight calf, especially if you have a tight gastrocnemius. I'm sorry, actually, if you have a tight soleo. The soleo is work better when the knee are flexed. And you can even reach the tibialis posteriors in this position. So what you do, you just go on both calf and you try to release all the tension that you can find down there. It's a way to make the calf more relaxed in a way, it's more pliable. and then here the opening of the foot again. So really interesting technique. I suggest you to try. And then some work that you see before on the QL that for the position that we see at the beginning, it's probably really inflamed, tight, and when some muscle is inflamed, most of the time it's even weak. So you can work, you can activate it, but I will even try to work out that muscle. So try to work the QL with some exercise. Right now I'm just trying to open up to try to make it more pliable, and then you can even push in this position. It's perfect to work on the quadratus lomborum, and then you can push from the top into the muscle and find the trigger point, showing with the finger, yes Max, showing, and do that. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear what I'm doing. And then you want to work on the attachment, so that's why I'm moving the leggings down, and you want to go into the you can even go into the longissimus. You can even work the rotator in this position. This is more myofascial release. This is slow. It's done with a lot of patients. And if you want, you can even ask the client to contract and release the QL, making the leg shorter and longer. Here we have a better look of what I'm doing. Really slow work, really precise. I think precision is something that a lot of massage therapists should apply to their work if they want to thrive, because that makes a difference. If you know the anatomy, you can try to work in a more precise way and see, try to create space with some mobilization of the hips. And then I ask the client to press against my elbow while I'm scraping gently, of course, or they nominate. With my ulna, slowly going from the top of the innominate all the way into the sacrum, all the way into L5, S1. Really slowly. And here, if you want to be fancy, you can even work with some Thai technique with the elbow. And here you have work on the side. Like I was saying, you want to work on the insertion of the QL. Try to open up all the muscle there. Really painful, really painful. I have a lot of clients that find this really painful, especially people with a weak and tight QL. See, you follow practically the hips. Then you go into the sacrum. The sacrum was tight too. He was feeling pain in the muscle on top in the sacrum. I like this scraping technique. And then again, opening up. So you always want to test your client mobility. You want to see the difference between one side, the other side. See how you can move that vertebrae. See if you create pain, if you create relief. As you can see, the leg that I'm working on the QL, so the leg is stretched. It's not like bent. So that allow you to have to stretch the muscle itself. And now some work on a TFL. Here's the activation of the QL. But she was feeling some pain there. So now I'm stretching it. And relax. Some stretch and relax. She was complaining about the pain into the sacrum when I was doing that, so I stopped. I always want to work without pain. I mean, if you work on some tissue and you are doing some trigger point therapy, yeah, you can have pain. But if you're doing some movement and that movement creates pain, I don't think it's a good idea to keep on using that movement. Here we are working on the glutes, the glute medius. She was screaming for pain. See, when you have an anterior pelvic tilt on one side, that creates an eccentric glute medius that can be really painful with time, especially close to the sacrum. So I was trying to release with this cross kind of technique. You go one side, the other side, one side, and you create a cross around the glute medius. That should release the muscle, and then you reach the TFL, tensor fascia lata. Here is it's working on the glutes, but we're gonna add some, actually this is reaching the glute minimus. Try to create flexion, extension and internal rotation of the femur. Yeah, and then you can even create flexion, extension, and work the glutes. See, you can work in different direction. Generally, you follow the tension in the glutes. I mean, if you feel that one pool of fiber are tight, you just pin that fibers and you start moving around the leg. An extension and flexion, like I'm doing right now. This is a release the glutes, release the hips, and at the same time activate this muscle. So it makes it more, make it stronger. Next time they have a competition, next time they're gonna run. So it's really helpful. Increase the blood flow. And yeah, some work on the glutes in face down position. Some work on the piriformis. I generally will work on the piriformis on the other side, but for the camera I'm showing you this on this side, so it's a pin and stretch. That's the piriformis muscle. And here some pin stretch of the piriformis. So sometimes you want to go on a table and start working the glute maximus with a lot of power, and you want to use your body weight. You don't want to stay on a table. You don't want to stay on your feet. It's better to go on a table and really use all your body weight. This is a big muscle and need a lot of energy. And then you can become precise again. So there is a general work and more specific work, different tempo, different pressure, and all things that make a great massage. You have some stretching on the psoas. So the psoas is really tight to the diaphragm. So when you have a problem in breathing, that psoas can get really tight. So if you don't use your diaphragm, if you got stress, if you use your scalene to breathe, and you don't belly breathe, you might develop a tight diaphragm that is connected fascially to the iliopsoas, and that can create a tight iliopsoas, e quindi restricting the flexor of the hips. So if the that is restricted, you have less power when you do your sport. So here, another position to work the glutes. This is more trigger point therapy. You are targeting the 6 deep rotators. You can go on into the piriformis, like I'm doing right now. And moving a little closer to the glute medius. And then you can even work the upper part of the glute medius and go even to the TFL in this position. Here, a way to squeeze the muscle in this way. And here we have some work on the sternocleido because, of course, having a tight and a higher shoulder create a lot of tension in the neck, because we know the body is looking for horizontality, so that can create tightness in one side of the neck. In general, you will have a really tight trapezius and a really tight sternocleidomastoideo, or SAM, that I'm trying to release right now with this technique. So I'm asking the client to move back, extension and rotation. I'm working in the front, I'm working in the back. Here you see the technique to opening up the SCM, sorry. And you go into the origin, you go all the way down. Then some work into the trapezius. And here the exercise for the rhomboid and all the muscle in the back that they have to be worked up to try to open up that chest. So this exercise, if you have around the shoulder, is very essential, so you can stretch and then contract. So you want to work especially the muscle that is the lower trap, that is the one that tilts the scapula back. So you want to pulse that arms up and create tension and work in that muscle there that I'm pointed out, especially the lower trap, as you can see. So that was the exercise to try to correct. You should do even some work on a serratus, and here to show how it's been corrected. So guys, thank you very much, and I see you soon.